Hi, my name is Jaylene, and I'm reporting for Healthy NewsWorks from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On this video call with me today is NASA astronaut Colonel Douglas H. Wheelock. Colonel Wheelock, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Hi, Jaylene. Thank you. This is a great opportunity, and it's going to be fun, I think, to just kind of talk about the current reality we're in. It's very much when we're quarantined or kind of on lockdown, as you will, or stay at home in our homes. It's kind of like being on the space station for a long duration. So there's a lot of similarities. So I'm very excited to talk to you today.
Mm. Well, according to the NASA website, you've spent 178 days in space. So you're probably more comfortable with the feeling of being socially isolated than most other people on the planet right now. Can you tell us about how you handled that isolation?
Yeah, so it is very similar, as I mentioned before. So I feel sort of comfortable in this role, although it's doesn't feel normal to me. But being isolated from our neighbors and our friends and family, extended family, and sometimes there are things that we train our astronauts that they could do each day to try to overcome these feelings of isolation and separation. There is really some skills you can develop, and what I hope to do today is give you some of those tips on how you can not only survive this period of isolation, but thrive during it. And so when we all emerge at the end of this virus, whether isolation, whether it's a week from now or a month from now or a few months from now, we could be a better person, ready to kind of repaint and re-put together our lives as we knew it. So there are some dramatic things we can do just on a daily basis, very simple things to help us prepare for this kind of isolation.
How did you keep busy when your options or activities were limited?
How do you keep busy? So
Yeah.
there are things you can do, like in space. We have there's always something to fix, on the space station. I was on the space station for 6 months, and there always seemed to be something that was broken or something that needed repair, and so that kind of kept me busy. And then whenever I started to feel lonely, I would go to the window and take pictures of the Earth and kind of wonder what my friends and family are doing down there. And then I began to journal. I began to write in a journal up there in space. And I also wrote like a little diary, or I began to write poetry about what I was seeing around me when I looked down on the Earth. And this is also something that you can do that's very healthy, right where you are. All you need is a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, and start journaling each day. Write down the day of the week, the date. I know sometimes it's hard to remember what day of the week it is, so write it down. On Monday, May 11th, 2020, this is what I did, and write down the things. You don't have to sit and write for hours, but whenever something really cool happens or you make a great connection, write it down in your journal, because one day you're going to get asked. They'll say like, Jaylene, tell me about what did you do during the pandemic when we were out of school in 2020? Can you tell me some of the things that you did? And you can go back to your journal and you're actually writing your story. And so it can be a very beautiful thing to be able to reflect back on.
How did you work out when you were in space?
So we have exercise countermeasures that we use on the space station. We have a treadmill, which, if you imagine, you're floating around. But it looks just like a treadmill on Earth. And so we put this vest on like a harness, and then we use buckles and clips and bungee cords to pull ourselves down onto this treadmill so we can walk or run. And hopefully by the end of your stay on the space station, maybe a 6-month stay, you're able to pull yourself down to your body weight. So when you get back in the gravity vector and you get back on Earth, you can stand up. And so we also have a cycle ergometer that's like a stationary bicycle that we can increase the resistance. And so it can help exercise and keep our leg muscles strong as well. And then we have a universal gym, which is called a resistive exercise device, which uses compressed air that we almost like one of these universal gyms or Soloflex machines or something, only the resistance you're pushing against is compressed air. And so, and we work out on those three pieces of equipment every day while we're in space.
Okay. How are you dealing with social distancing today during the pandemic? Is it harder or easier than in space?
It's got a lot of similarities. It's got when we went into this, I'm in my home. I'm living up in northeastern Ohio right now. I'm working at the NASA John Glenn Research Center that's in Cleveland, and so I'm in my home right now with my little dog Lily is over here. So life is a little bit different than I'm used to. And oh, by the way, it's very similar to a space mission on the ISS, on the space station. We're not really sure how long this mission's going to last. And we're kind of like that when we launch as astronauts to the space station as well. It's like, well, we think it's going to be 3 months or 6 months, but it may be longer. And so for us, we don't really know. We hope it only lasts maybe a few more weeks, but it may last a few more months. We're not really sure. And so some of that uncertainty is what is how you can overcome that by strengthening these areas of your normalcy in your life. And so very similar. What you're living right now is very similar to life on the space station. So if you're out there listening in and you want to be an astronaut or ride on a rocket somewhere, it's like you're in really, really great training right now. So kind of embrace this new sort of reality for us. And there are certain things you can do, and you could start doing those things by just structuring your day so things feel more normal as you build up the strength, your physical strength, your mental strength, your emotional strength, your spiritual strength, who you are becoming in this world as you repaint your picture. So,
What kind of advice do you have for people who are going through a period of isolation for the first time? What do you wish someone told you before you had to deal with it?
yeah, so it is hard if you've never experienced something like this. It's very difficult, and we practice it at NASA, but you can only practice it so much until then it becomes reality when you get to space. And so I found myself 6 months on the space station, even though I had been through all of this training, there were periods of time where I felt really lonely. I felt like I was alone. And does anybody know I'm out here? And I looked down at the Earth, and it's that beautiful blue planet down there. Everybody I've ever known, everybody that ever lived is down there on that planet, and I'm not there. And so it made me feel isolated. It made me feel separated. And you have to take control of those things, those feelings, because otherwise those feelings will take control of you. And that's not a good situation. So those are, because the next step is not only focus. So step one, don't panic. Step two, focus on the things that you have, because those are the things you're going to rebuild your life with. And then step three is to understand that you are not alone in this, because there is a lot of fear when we feel like we're alone, and especially when we're going through something like this where everything just seems so crazy and weird. When on top of that, if we feel alone, we'll begin to feel lonely, and that can take us into a spiral. And so begin to take control of your day. Make daily goals for yourself. Tomorrow I'm going to start reading a book, or tomorrow I'm going to get online and learn how to play the guitar, or what have you, just all those things that you always thought, like, gosh, if I only had time, I would do fill in the blank. You can start doing those now. And that will keep your mind active, it'll keep your body active, and it'll help you kind of redevelop this new beautiful picture of your life. So